For the orientation, there's some contact information for me and my name. So today we'll just do some introductions so you can get to know each other a little bit. We'll talk about what you need to do to access Brightspace. So if you've never seen Brightspace before, we'll talk about how you can log into Brightspace. We'll talk about some of the features of the course and some kind of tips and tricks. We'll talk about when the exams are going to be, and when you need to come to SAIT, which will be quite minimal. How to approach the course content. Hi, come on in. And we'll talk about the course schedule. And finally, well, if you haven't installed BlueJ, I'll give you a chance to install BlueJ. And we'll actually do kind of the first assignment, which is, the first assignment is just take the source code from the PowerPoint, put it into BlueJ, run it, cut and paste the results back into D2L, just so that you kind of see that process. Hi, good to see you. Hello, hello. Just have you guys sign in. Thank you. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll just turn on the lights here and we'll go around. We'll just have you introduce yourself. What's your major? And if you've used Java before, tell me which IDE or what sort of environment you used. Some of you may have used it on command line. Some of you may have used Dr. Java. Some of our instructors use Dr. Java. I happen to use BlueJ. You might have used Eclipse. And then maybe just tell us something interesting about yourself. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. So my name's Dave Leskiw. I was a software developer for 15 years. And then I ended up moving over to the University of Calgary. I did a little bit of management and teaching there. And then I actually came over to SAIT. And I was a manager here for a while. And I said I don't like pushing rope uphill. And so I decided I did like instructing. So I kind of moved into instruction. And actually at the U of C, I used to mentor a lot of instructors in delivering online courses. So kind of a passion of mine, this whole kind of online delivery thing. I like to think that I can really do a good job of it. And so that's a little bit about me. Something interesting about myself, I own a place in California and I love playing golf. And on Sunday, actually, I get on a plane and I'll be in California. So when I do my welcome videos, I'll make sure I have the golf course behind me as I say hi to you and encourage you to keep writing your Java code. And I will mark your Java code out on the patio. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And, can really be helpful. Okay, so in terms of accessing Brightspace, hi, come on in. That's okay. I'll take a handout here, and I'll get you to sign in, okay? All right, so those of you who are new to IT, new to the IT diploma, SAIT runs, we use a learning management system, and it's called Brightspace. So I've given you these handouts, okay? So the way you get to it is you go learn.sait.ca, and then you take your SAIT, you log in, your username is your SAIT ID, and then your password is your birth date in the format day, month, year. Okay? And that's, by the way, the same as your password to mysait.ca. Those two are always linked together. And then when you get there, you will actually see a course, a semester, the spring 2019 semester, and you'll see our course there. So, for example, let me log out here. So you can see when I go to learn.sait.ca, and you can access this anywhere. Okay, you don't have to be on campus or anything to access it. It's publicly accessible. You type in your username, notice the leading zeros, your password, you log in, and then it will present kind of all the courses that you're taking. And so it happens to bring up the spring 2019 semester for me. And you can click on it and go in. Now, by the way, you can also access it on your phone. And it is mobile friendly too. So you'd be quite amazed what you can do on your phone with this. You can watch the videos on your phone while you're in Banff hiking, or when you're in Japan, but it's really expensive. Like internet over there is probably like super expensive, so be careful.
Is it an app, Brightspace?
I think it's just a website.
A web.
I think it's just a web.
Yeah, it's an app.
Oh, it is an app, eh?
Oh, nice.
Okay, it is. I wasn't quite sure. It's been on my phone so long I didn't really notice, but yeah. Okay. So then you're basically in the course here. So let's talk about some of the things. So let me talk in general about the course. So there's a YouTube video that I'll leave on the announcement page that kind of talks about the course. So the course has about 30 hours of video instruction built into it in different places. It has 10 open book practice quizzes. So the practice quizzes are based on the textbook. So you really need the textbook. And to get the textbook, if you go underneath content and you go underneath course information, and it talks about, hey, let's get started in the course. And then there's a little video of me, all excited about the course. And then we're advancing through. And let's get to where the textbook is in here. There's the Java textbook. So the Java textbook is starting out with Java, from control systems to objects. I recommend you just buy it online, the online version of it, which is accessed through a website. It's, I think, for a 6-month access, it's $39 US, okay, for rental. Yes?
I have a old version.
Probably fine. Probably fine. What edition is it?
Well, fourth.
Fourth. You know what? At the introductory level, it'll be fine. Yeah. So if you want to get an older version of this book, you're probably fine at the introductory level that we're at. Okay? So that'll be fine. Yeah, no problem. Okay. What else do we have here? So we have, you'll see that in D2L, there's a practice theory midterm, a practice theory final. Every module will have some video instruction from me. There'll be an instructor overview that I present at the beginning of the module, telling you kind of, hey, what's this module all about? You know, this module is about arrays, and arrays are important abstract data type. And we've got several videos, and we've got several what we call in-class assignments that need to be completed. And we have some in-class tests. So the little in-class tests, we'll see these in a few minutes here. They're basically little tests that you do on your own time as you're going through the video. So you're watching the video, and the video will say, okay, in-class test. And it'll say module 3, slide 35. And then there'll be a link to go to it in D2L, and then it'll bring up the quiz, and you do the quiz. And you can do the quiz as many times as you need to till you get all the correct answers. Okay, so there's no pressure on the in-class quizzes or in-class tests. The in-class programming assignments, basically they're little programming assignments. They tend to be about 10 to 15 lines of code that you'll do in BlueJ, and then you'll run the program and provide the output. So you provide me with the Java code and the sample run. You'll load it up to Brightspace. I'll mark it and I'll give you comments back. If you didn't get 10 out of 10, I'll give you some comments and tell you what you need to fix. Then you'll fix those things and resubmit them, and then I'll grade them again. Okay, so it's what we call a formative assessment cycle because it formulates your learning, right? Okay, so again, not a lot of pressure on those. These are really critical that you do these in order to learn the material. So I know that if you tried, you could find these assignments somewhere. You could talk to a friend who's been in the program or whatever. You know what? You're not doing yourself any favors. You have to work through these things. That's how you learn the material. That's why I provided them. So I would encourage you to avoid the temptation of having someone offer you these solutions. Or even if you have these solutions, I would put them away. Like maybe you took the course in the past and you've seen some of these. I would put those away and I would do it fresh, because that way you'll learn it a lot better. There's 10 quizzes. You're going to do the quizzes at home. They're meant to be closed book, and they'll be done using the lockdown browser. And there's 4 major programming assignments. So what do you think of that? Yeah?
Quick question, I might be getting ahead of you. What is the frequency of the kind of things at class?
Never.
So there's no test we have to be here for?
The midterm and the final.
Okay.
Yeah, midterm and final. So if you look on that course schedule, you'll see when the midterm and final are. I think it's a Monday and a Wednesday and a Monday and a Wednesday. So that's the only times I need to see you. So the lab midterm will be done at SAIT, the theory midterm will be done at SAIT, the lab final will be done at SAIT, and the theory final will be done at SAIT. You can look under Brightspace to see the dates and times of those exams. So if I were to go on Brightspace right now, and I just go underneath course home, and I look underneath the announcements area, you'll find the course schedule right there that I just handed out. Or if you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see there's the actual dates for the lab midterm and the midterms and the finals. If these dates for some reason do not work for you, then drop me an email and we can work something else out for you. Okay? Just let me know. And I need a little bit of notice too, at least a week's notice, okay? On that. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk about how you should approach the course when you get home, in terms of what is this whole concept of workflow, what are these things called checklists, talk about the different components here. One of the cool things about the videos is you can speed them up. Now that they're on a streaming file server, so you can actually watch them at 1.5 times or 2 times regular speed. And I don't even sound like a chipmunk at 2 speed. They somehow adjust the frequency down, and I'm just talking like really, really fast, and I'm answering all your questions like this fast, and I'm typing very, very quickly, and I'm bringing stuff around. So it's somewhat entertaining to watch too. So when you get bored, you might want to do that. And you can also use Control Zoom. Because it's in a browser window, kind of a control scroll button zooms the window, so you can make the video larger for yourself. I've looked at all the videos, and as far as I can tell, they're very readable. There's no problems. If you encounter a problem, just drop me an email, because I do have the original files, and I do have some alternatives for that. The practice quizzes, open book, open computer. Feel free to access your textbook, access your slides. It's meant to be another way for you to learn the material, the practice quizzes. They are 4 marks. They add up into your professionalism mark. And the module quizzes are closed book. They should be done within the lockdown browser. And instructor videos will be accessible kind of through the checklist or directly underneath the module. Okay, so why don't we take a look here, and I'll show you kind of how you would approach going through the course here. So I'm going to take a pretty typical module, and module 3 is pretty typical. So in module 3, the first thing we have is an overview. And so this is one of those streaming videos. So you see the SAIT logo. I always think it's for some Euro Cup soccer or something. Every time I see the logo. I heard we paid a lot of money for it, though, so I have to like it.
Hello and welcome to module number 3.
So here I am, and I'm doing my regular
thing. In this module,
thing.
we're going
so
to be
if you
taking
click
a look
down
at
here,
writing some branches.
Can you change the speed?
So in this module, we'll really
Yes.
start to get the flow of actually writing some code in Java and doing something interesting. The branches allow us to change flow of
So you
control.
can't hear
we'll be
me,
dealing
but
with if
I'm talking
statements and
very
if else
fast.
statements and
Or
switch case statements.
if you find something and you need to enjoy
in
it
this module,
for longer, you
it's
can turn it
based
down,
on
turn the speed
chapter
down.
3 in the textbook.
You can also put this in a separate window by clicking right here. And then when it's in the separate window, you can zoom it, right? So that may help you if you find that you need it a little bit larger. I really recommend that when you...
Hello and welcome to module number 3. And
when you
in
do this course, you should really have 2 computer screens. Okay, one screen where the video's playing over here, and then kind of one screen where you're working. That's where your slides will be, or where you'll be writing the programs that I'm showing you on the video. So set up kind of a two-screen system, and that will be kind of the best way to approach that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So one computer with BlueJ, another one with D2L, kind of?
Same machine. So just have a monitor. So you got a laptop here?
Yeah.
So just plug in a second monitor. And then what you can do is on the Windows key, you can ask to extend it. And basically, then it will run over two machines. Okay, then it'll run over two machines. And then you can drag stuff into one machine and leave some other stuff on the other machine.
Sorry, which
Well, you have to, yeah, so the Windows key
yeah.
along with P at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So hold it down, hold it down.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Okay.
And then you would select, if you have the second monitor, you put it on extend, and then you'll see that that monitor will be blank, and then you can take applications here and drag them and place them on this monitor.
Do I need the cable?
Yeah, it'd have to be, it's connected right here.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's probably the best way to approach this. You can get it to fit on one screen, but it's kind of tight, right? And it's a little bit small. So it's better if you lay out a couple monitors for yourself when you do this. So hopefully that'll help you. And as you go through the topics, what you do is there's a little advance button here. So you advance to the next topic. So here's kind of a written overview of what we're going to do in Module 3. We're going to download some slides. We're going to watch the video. We're going to do some in-class tests. We're going to write some in-class programming assignments. Eventually, we're going to do a practice quiz. And finally, we're going to do a module quiz. Then I click the Advance button. And now we're into the instructional component. So every module usually has an instruction component. It may have instructor videos, and it'll have tests. Okay? So the key thing in the course, and those of you who have taken the course from me in the past may not have seen this, is I built these things called checklists. And these checklists basically identify everything you have to do for each module. And you check them off as you do them. They're fantastic for keeping track of where you are in the course. So let me log in as a student here, because right now you're seeing how things look as an instructor. So let me impersonate a student here. So this is how the world looks like for you, right, as a student. So you go into the content, and let's say you're doing Module 3, and you're coming in and you're doing the learning activities. So the first thing it says, download the student PowerPoint. So you click on this, and this downloads the student PowerPoint. And there it is, right? So what you'll notice in the student PowerPoints is there's little places where there's these little red X's. Okay? And they're basically places where I am going to fill in some code as we go through the video. Okay? So what you probably want to do is you want to have that window kind of open. So we did the first task, so we check it off. Then, okay, it says watch the video and update the slides. So when you click on this, it'll bring up the video in a separate window, and then you can play it, right? And so the idea is, and again, it's hard to do with a single screen here, right? Is you have the video over here, you have your slides over here, and basically as I'm going through the slides,
else-ifs.
you're updating them, right?
We have if, else, if. We have the logical
Now-
operators, which you mentioned already.
Not only
The
do
ands
I
and the
update
ors.
the slides, but
And
every
then-
now and then,
1A plumbing program.
I'll
Let's
actually
run it again to use the other branch.
do some work in BlueJ. So here I am actually writing some code in BlueJ.
So
Okay?
we'll enter a number
Demonstrating
22.
some stuff in BlueJ.
Enter the value
so
0
I would
as the
highly
second number.
recommend that
And
when you see these
here it will check,
videos
is
and when I'm
number 2 equal
demonstrating
to 0?
stuff
So
in
is
BlueJ,
number 2
you do it
equal
too,
to 0?
right?
It's true.
Stop the video,
So it prints out division by
kinda
0
get
is
set
not
up,
possible.
and do it along with me.
Run the program
and
again.
you'll really learn a lot
enter
from
a number other
that
than 0.
experience. Okay?
So that gives you an example of an
So,
if
and let's suppose you did that video, that's great. And then there's an in-class programming assignment. So all of the programming assignments are tied to a slide, a particular slide. So this one's in Module 3, Slide 16. So if you go to the slides, and you go to slide 16, you'll see the actual assignment. So here's the assignment, and it says, write a program to read in 2 values from the user and print out the larger value. Here's some pseudocode, and here's some code you can start with, and then you're supposed to submit the Java code and a sample run to D2L. So if you click on the assignment, and I'm pretty proud of this. This is pretty neat stuff. I've actually built a video for every single assignment. It's only about 30 seconds long, and it just says, hey, here's what to watch for when you do this assignment. This is what this little assignment is about. So it's pretty cool.
We're looking at Module 3, Slide 16.
So this is like a 2-minute video that says, hey, when you go to write the code, here's what you watch for, here's what you need to do, and here's some tips and tricks. Now go do it. So I'm pretty pumped about that, because I think that's a really neat little feature. And I got myself completely out of D2L there. I just got so excited. All right. Let's go back to that module. Again, that was Module 3. So let's see what else there was in Module 3. Okay, so again, the learning activities are where the majority of your work is done. So there's another video, there's an in-class programming assignment. Here's something you haven't seen. It's called an in-class test. So as you're watching the video here that goes from slide 28 to slide 41, when you're done that, and it'll tend to stop where the in-class tests are, you go and do this in-class test. So here's the in-class test. I'll show it the way it would look like to you. So it says, hey, we're going to do this little in-class test. That's great. And it just asks some simple questions. So what is the value of the following expression? Is it true or false? If count is 2 greater than or equal to 0, and is count less than or equal to 100? What do you think? True or false? It's 50-50, friends. True. Okay. Next one. What's the value of the following expression? True or false? If count is 2, is count greater than 100? False. Okay. How many of them are there here? Well, there's a few. We're not going to do them all. Okay. So anyhow, you answer them, and then you submit the test, and then it'll mark it, and it'll say, hey, here's how you did. So we got the first 2 right, and the other ones we don't have right. So can we do this quiz again? Yeah, sure, we can do this quiz again. Yeah, until you figure it out. Okay. Or we reach the end of semester. One of those 2 things happens first, right? Okay. And so, okay, that's pretty much. So that's kind of the most common piece of the flow. Here you notice it says, you should read chapter 3 in the textbook. That's a good idea. And then after that, we can advance. And then you'll see, here's some videos from the textbook. So as you're looking through the textbook, every once in a while it'll say video note. And it'll say, the time calculator programming problem. So all of the videos that are mentioned in the textbook, I have actually imported into D2L. So you can watch them. So that's pretty cool.
Hey there, this is Tony Gaddis, author of Starting Out with Java. In this video, we're going to look at the time calculator problem at the end of chapter 3 in your textbook. And we're going to...
So you can watch those too. Those are quite interesting. And then here's where all the instructor videos are stored, but they're also in the checklist, okay? But if you just wanted to get at the videos, you could. And then here's where the 2 tests are. We have practice quiz, and we have chapter 3 quiz. So
How many attempts for the practice quizzes?
they're the same test bank as the questions that are used in the real quiz. So when you do the practice quizzes, I think it's 10 questions, randomly selected. And then that same test bank is used for the real quizzes. Okay? And so the quizzes are based on the textbook, the questions from the textbook. So it's a good question, though. All right, so a few of you have your computers here today, yeah. So those of you who have a computer here today, why don't you go and we're going to do a test together here. So underneath assessments, tests, and what we're going to do at the very, very bottom, I believe it is, or maybe not at the bottom. Where is it? I'm looking for the test called Practice Test with Lockdown Browser. Okay? Very bottom. So go ahead and bring that up. And what that's going to require for you to do is for you to download and install the lockdown browser. So when you go ahead and click on that, it's going to have you download and install the lockdown browser. All right, so in my case, it didn't start the lockdown browser. It'll just present 3 questions, and you can answer them and see how you'll do.